Hey everybody, Calvin here from Calvinomics. In this episode, I want to talk about the price of weddings. I'm broadcasting from Rockford, Illinois. I made a video already and uploaded it about silver, oil prices, as well as data centers. And this is just something I thought of. I was like, I want to make another video real quick and talk about a topic that I'm actually pretty well versed in, and that is the cost of weddings. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs of a wedding and the price. I've never actually been married. However, I DJ weddings. I've been doing it basically since December of 2021. That's when I started my very first one. And now it's 2026, so I'm going about, going to be in my fifth year by the end of this year. And I have seen a lot, and I've been to a lot of different venues in and around the Chicago area, as well as a few in Rockford and in Rockton, specifically the barn in Rockton. So if anyone watches this and they're like, what is that? Well, it's just a nice little venue up in the suburb north of Rockford. Okay, so I just Googled this. So if you're thinking about a wedding or whatever, here you go. And now, of course, this varies substantially. So the cost of weddings on average, okay? So the United States, 2025, 2026, and prices have gone up. And I'm going to kind of go through some things that I've seen over time. So 35 to $36,000, which is, oh my God, the price of my Hyundai Santa Fe a few years ago, which is that's just crazy, which is, it covers a ceremony and then the reception. Okay, now this does vary. Like I said, it can go anywhere where if you get like a church and you just have catering brought in, heck, it could just be a few $1,000s. But now, from what I've seen as a DJ, people want, and it's totally okay. I mean, hey, it helps me and it helps the business. They want a lot more. Okay. So usually the major one is the venue, right? You're trying to find a venue. If you're looking for a wedding, you got to get that down like ASAP. Okay, there was a little lull in 23, 24. It seemed like there was a real big dip when I first started GG. Well, actually like 2024, kind of 2025. It just seemed like there was like a little bit of a decrease. I heard this from other DJ companies, but then they're saying like this is like the kind of a COVID effect. There was a real big buildup of weddings that were postponed after everything started kind of getting quote back to normal. There was a huge rush, and I mean I was DJing continually. I could find jobs Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the entire year if I wanted to. I was working a full time job, so it wouldn't have been possible. I mean, it would have been possible, but not great for me to do. But the thing is, there were just so many, and then there was a drop off, but now it's slowly increasing once again. So you want to get those venues down. And of course, you got the engagement ring, live band. I don't know how many people actually get live bands. I know people do have them. However, the problem with a live band as opposed to a DJ, and like I'm not selling my services here, is that the live band usually just sticks within a genre. But now they had these like bands with the DJ kind of side by side. And that's just another thing. Then you have the photographer, which the photographer runs around with a couple all day, all night. So then it talks about the guest count, regional differences. So I'm in the Chicago suburbs. And so Chicago, there's the premium. If you're in the suburbs, it's so much easier for vendors, for everybody. So it's not going to be as high of a price as if you were in downtown Chicago, right? I've been downtown, and my goodness, it's a headache sometimes. Okay, average cost for a venue $8,000 to $12,000. This is yeah, I would say this is about right. And of course, major cities like New York and LA. And I went to Reddit. Reddit has some pretty good information, but you just gotta kind of siphon through the bullshit. And see, you can see here they talk about this. How much was your venue? That it's kind of the same thing. It fluctuates. Average cost now for photographer 3,500 to 4 grand, if not more. I usually see 25, 3, 4, and sometimes there's multiple people. What's the average? Here you go. Photography 5,000, 5,500 in Florida, 8,000 on photography alone, 3,800 Ontario, Canada. So it really, once again, just depends on who you get, the reputation, and all that. Wedding DJ cost guide. So this is from Wedding Wire. Most couples spend between 780 and 1,500 bucks. Now this must be like updated information Because if you're only paying $1,000 for your DJ, I mean, that's probably what I would charge if I was just doing it on my own. I have on my own equipment, and if not, a little bit more. But honestly, this is more 14.95 to $2,500 range. This, if you're going to use this, if you come across this site, I don't know where they're getting their information, but 14.95 is now kind of the starting price. If you're getting anywhere lower than that, it's usually someone like me. I mean, I contract with a few companies in the well, the Chicago, two in Chicago, one in Milwaukee, and a couple in the suburbs. And I get paid a certain amount, but their minimum price is starting at about $1,500, and of course I get a cut of that after the job is performed. Now, if I'm doing it on my own, yeah, $1,000 is fine, you know. So, but people tell me I should charge higher, so maybe I will. So that just be weary of that, especially if someone comes to you and says, "Hey, yeah, I can do it on my own, and I'll give you like $600. I'll just charge you $600. Like, hey, who are you? What's your equipment? Things like that." All right, average cost. I'm not going to go over this article right now. I want to kind of keep this short. Now, one thing I've seen in the last few years, when I first started DJing, tons of flowers at almost every wedding. Every single wedding, there was the flowers, there was the centerpieces, and usually there were so many that they would just give them away, and I'd take them. Like they'd be like, "Hey, do you want them? You want to take them?" I'd take them home. So that was around 2023 into 2024. But then as 2024 started continuing on, I started to see less of the flower centerpieces and more candles. And this was very true in 2025. This person saying here $125 is pretty standard for medium. So some people say 275 to $500 per centerpiece. I don't even know. Under 65, someone says there's 30, 150 each. It just, once again, it depends. But what I've been seeing more and more of is that there's a lot of people on their tables who are just lighting candles. They have like these long candle tubes or like small candles, and they just light them. And I think that is a cost measure where it still looks nice, but it's not as pricey. As you can see here, I don't know I just Googled this. Here you go. The knot 50 flowers, 120. I mean, these are just centerpieces, and you know you're looking at 150. I mean, this is whole yeah. Yeah, I mean that's pretty incredible to me. But people have the money and they will pay it. And it looks there's one wedding I did last year where literally the whole venue looked like a rainforest. I'm not sure how many thousands of dollars that probably cost them. Doesn't matter to me. They can do it. They want to do it. But they did actually. It looked pretty cool though. So then they did DJ cost Chicago. Seen anywhere from 15 to 3,500. How do you feel? 3,500, is it much different than less expensive ones? And they just kind of go through. So this one says here we're paying $3.50 an hour for ours. Someone said here they had a certain person who was charging a premium because the person was bringing vinyl, and then they were like, "Hey, how'd that work out?" And then no response. And that's another thing. You bring in vinyl, that looks cool, you know, as a DJ. Like you got this vinyl, you're sitting there scratching, but if it comes to like I did a quinceanera over the weekend. This is March, so it was on the 7th. So second week in March. Let me make sure. Let me tell you. Yeah, it's March 7th. And I mean, there was just so many songs I've never heard of. It was K-pop. There was bachata. There was reggaeton. Charlie XCX. I've had those songs. That's fine. So when you're on vinyl, but then you are doing a party that has 14, 15, 16-year-olds in it, and you don't it's impossible to have every song, and then there's no Wi-Fi, so it's not like you can just bring it up real quick on your DJ software. So then I'm having to use my phone through Spotify and then mixing it in with my DJ controller. So I'm like playing a song, I have to like somehow mix it in to my phone from Wi-Fi, from or just from the not from Wi-Fi, from the AT&T, and I'm playing off Spotify, and at the same time trying to mix it. It just becomes a headache. So yeah, just be careful what you're looking for in terms of a DJ, because there's a lot of variations in terms of uplighting and all that. And I actually will probably make a different video regarding the DJ cost just because it's such an interesting topic. And so I don't want to get too far into it. So if you look at the cost of weddings, and just to kind of on the side note, I can go on for days about this, which is why I'm going to make a separate video. One of the best parties that I think I've DJed for, and there's been a few that were very pricey and they were very good parties. I can tell you that the most fun parties that I've DJed for were just people who kind of got the average. In fact, there was one couple in particular. They had their venue. It was called the Horticultural Hall in Lake Geneva. There was no staff. The guests had to move the tables around to open up the dance floor. They only had food for catering. I was the DJ. There was a guy I was working with who did the photo booth, and that was essentially their overhead. The venue, their catering, and then the DJ and the photo booth, and then nothing else. They actually had to do all their own cleaning up, and it was probably one of the best parties that I've ever DJed for. And in fact, it's still at number one because of how much fun. In fact, I went about 50 minutes over while DJing this party, just because it was so much fun, and there was very little oversight at all. If you know what I mean. And so it doesn't really take, just because you spend a lot of money doesn't mean that it's going to be fun. You just gotta, people have to feel comfortable. So you can spend the price of my Hyundai Santa Fe on a wedding, but if people aren't having fun, it's just not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to make another video actually with DJ costs and just kind of talk a little bit more about this. But either way, I hope you enjoy this topic because it's something that I'm in the field of and I see on a weekend by weekend basis. I have about 42 weddings this year already scheduled, and there will be more that will come. Chances are by the end of the year, I'll do anywhere from 50 to 55 weddings. So I'll let you know at the end of the year as well. Thank you for watching, and I will make another episode here very shortly.